In 3, 2, 1. Yes, you're live.
Hello, everyone. This is Naresh Gehi, founder of My Legal Software. And today with me, I have a new host with me, and that's Priyanjali, because Anjali wanted to take a break. And always it's a good idea to keep changing faces, especially because I believe, makes you feel a little different. So I said, let's let Anjali take a break and let us introduce you to Priyanjali, who's also one of our trainers. And thank you for joining us, Priyanjali. You've always been on the back. It's good to see you on the front today. So you're on the front line and you're not
Thank you so
on the back line. And as always, we have Rahul Desa, a tech guru, as well as a legal researcher who's actually a trainer of the software and someone who does a lot of legal research when it comes to general practice speed for general practice lawyers, as well as for immigration speed for immigration lawyers. So today, Rahul, we are going to talk about mandamus. So a lot of paralegals who are appearing today, as well as lawyers who are appearing today, they know what's a mandamus. So what is a mandamus and when is it used? A mandamus is used when there is a delay. The first thing that comes to your mind is your client keeps nagging you, he keeps calling you, he keeps bothering you, and says that there's been a delay. So when it comes to a delay, the first thing that comes to my mind is the word mandamus. So mandamus means when there's an unreasonable delay, then you can kind of basically think about the word mandamus. And Rahul, 28 USC 1331 speaks about mandamus. And generally, you have to be careful before you file a mandamus. If you're a new lawyer, we can help you. And Priyanjali can shift a little bit so people can see your phone number at the back, Priyanjali. So you can move a little bit so they can see your phone number. That'll be fantastic. To the other side, to the other side. Yes, fantastic. So that's a phone number, and that's My Legal Software. And but what happens is you have this client, and you applied for his 485. The 485 has been pending for more than 2 years, and constantly this client is calling you, and he's telling you, "How come my case has taken so long?" And you don't know what to say. So you told him to go to the congressman. The congressman came back with a reply that says that immigration is waiting for the background clearance to be checked. Client is still not happy, and he's suffering because his wife is not with him, and he wants his wife here. Now, after she comes here, we don't know how things are going to be, but let's get the wife here. So at least we'll make him happy, and what do we do about it? So she's been there for 2 years, and he's all excited to have her here, because there's a saying that distance makes the heart go fonder, and familiarity breeds contempt. So right now, he's in that mode wherein his heart is going fonder because the spouse is away. So let's make sure that his spouse comes here, and later on we'll see what happens. So now we want to make sure that the client is happy. Distance makes the heart go fonder. He wants her here, and you want to unite them. That's the first thing you want. So in order to unite them, think about the word mandamus. So 28 USC 1331 comes into play. An action for mandamus is required under the law when there is an unreasonable delay. And generally, how do you check unreasonable delay? There's no such kind of factor, a perfect factor to look at, but generally the case law is generally, if a case has been pending for more than 2 years, it's considered to be a reasonable action on behalf of the party to bring an action for mandamus. In some cases, you can even bring it earlier because the law on the point is unreasonable. And unreasonable is something that is something that's subject to interpretation. So how do I define unreasonable, Rahul? I'll tell you what I do here. What I generally do, I check the visa bulletin to see whether the case is current. I check online to see how much time an adjustment would take in the United States. I went for the interview now. Most people got their green cards after 8 months. My client has been waiting for a year and a half for no apparent reason. Good reason for me to consider mandamus. And what happens in a mandamus, I'll be speaking later. But firstly, Priyanjali would like to say a few words for the overwhelming response for my legal software. And surprisingly, GP Speed has been doing very well. And there's a fantastic offer for GP Speed. Folks, there's a great plan going on for the next 30 days. And there is no sign-up fee, no gimmicks. Get it installed. And if you like it, use it. And you can also pay per client. So the lawyer doesn't have to pay anything. People love that. This is being offered by my legal software. How that works is real simple, is that you get a free installation, and Rahul and Priyanjali are going to talk about it. They'll set, example, the company will set it up for you. After that, they'll train you how to put the data, no fee at all. If you don't get a client for the whole month, you pay nothing. If you get a client, the good thing is that the client is paying the fee. So the lawyer is paying nothing for the software. Plus, if you're charging his credit card, the client is paying the credit card fee. How much money can you save? Easy thing to do is to just take a demo. And this is only going to be available for a limited time. So how does this work? I'm a lawyer. I call my legal software. They install it for you. You got it 30 days free. You have a client whose name is John Smith. He starts a case. When he starts the case, the bill goes to John Smith. That's $30 or something, or $40, whatever that is. So you didn't pay anything at the end of the month. That money will be collected by my legal software. So no installation fees, no training fees, nothing. Completely free. What happens if you don't have a client in a month? You pay nothing. Rahul, how's that?
It is. I mean, one of the great benefits of my legal software is this innovative pricing model, where basically if you're not generating new business with our software, you're not being charged for it. And because you're only paying a one-time fee at the start of the case, it's very easy to pass that cost on to your client as an administrative cost that, just for the management and maintenance of the case.
So Rahul is going to give a demo of how that works. And plus, we will continue the entire mandamus session. And especially for paralegals and lawyers, we are going to teach you how to do an exact mandamus by using my legal software. So you can bring up the portal, Rahul, and you can work with Priyanjali.
Yes. Priyanjali, if you could share your screen, please.
Yes, sure. I would like to share my screen and show the portal so that I can go through it.
And show them of how exactly it's
Sure.
completely free at this stage for if they sign up for that plan immediately. And they can call us, or they can make an appointment by calendar. And Rahul, you can show them how they sign up. At the zero things, they don't have to pay anything. And we are showing you immigration speed, but remember, general practice laws have that GP speed also. So Priyanjali is going to show you both of them. Do you have both the versions with you, Priyanjali, or just immigration speed here?
I have prepared with immigration speed, but if based on the public's view, we can definitely show GP speed as well.
All right. So for example, you started a case here, and also we are going to go through the entire mandamus now. Rahul, why don't you start the entire mandamus lecture from the portal?
Sure. So
you and Priyanjali are going to go on, and I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. As was said at the start of this session, mandamus and the Administrative Procedures Act offer relief whenever an action that an agency was obligated to perform is unreasonably delayed or unlawfully withheld. And so one of the first things you need to look at and keep track of is the timeline and the history of the case. So when you create a new case on my legal software, especially if you are an immigration attorney and will often be dealing with cases that have very long deadlines or horizons, either because, say, your client's application for an immigrant visa, their visa date is not current yet and won't be because of their category for many years. Or if you're handling, say, an asylum case where you know that the interview or the appearance before an immigration judge is also going to be many years in the future, you can factor those things into the very creation of the case at the start of the case with our Lifeline feature, which gives you the opportunity to create flexible reminders to yourself down the road at the start of the case to check in on updates to the case, especially if there are going to be long wait times. And here Priyanjali is pulling up the module for creating the case when you open or get a new client on Immigration Speed. And you input all the information, you have your case strategy, your case summary, and you also have a number of features to remind yourself of different steps down the road that will have to be taken that aren't necessarily immediate deadlines right now. So from there, you're well positioned to already have a track of what you have filed, what you're going to be filing, what the timeline has been between anything that you've submitted to the government and you've received from them, and finally, what actions specifically were taken, what reasoning was offered for any delays if you receive notices about those. And these are available. All of this will appear in summary in the case. If, Priyanjali, if you go to My Cases, you can see in the bio what a sample case might look like after all of this information has been input. And from there, you're well positioned to present a record of whether and why any delay in the processing of your case, as we said with the initial hypothetical, let's say it's an adjustment of status application, is unreasonably delayed. So just to go over in a bit more detail the specific elements of mandamus or APA action, one of the things that you have to demonstrate first is that, say, the agency or official, in this case it would be, since we're talking about adjustment of status, USCIS, had a specific legally required duty to perform some action, in this case, to make a decision on your application. Then you have to show that, in addition to that, that they failed to perform action in a reasonable time or unlawfully withheld the performance of that action, that your client was injured by the failure, and that no other adequate remedy exists to get relief for your client. The elements of the mandamus and the APA suit are largely overlapping, though they are shuffled around a bit for each cause of action. And in this webinar, we will be going over both of them. But another way that MyLS can help you keep track of the difference between the two and the applicability of them is with our templates and resources features, where you can, say, store either links to practice advisories about the advisability of a mandamus or an APA suit, and you can additionally store your own templates for previous.
Now, Rahul, this is what I like, is that you can use the templates and, but some people, we can also give them templates if needed. And as I said, it's literally free for the lawyer because the client is paying for your billing for my legal software. So the lawyer is not incurring a cost at all here. Number one, and he's saving money on credit card fees. Even if they are using the credit card and paying the government the fee, as you know that you can use the credit card, correct, to pay for the ECF fee? 405, am I correct?
Correct. And yes.
See, let's talk about that. Now, how much is the fee? 405?
Yes.
Okay. Now, 405, that's the fee for the mandamus under the law. And once if that fee is paid, and if you're using the credit card, the client's credit card, anytime even when you're swiping your card with theirs, the fee for that can be billed to the client for you. That's what I like about it. So I didn't incur any credit card fee. Terminal fee also gets billed over there in most states. So
yes,
that
will depend on the specific.
Depending on the state, yes. So in New York, there's no problem. So the buck gets passed on to the client, the lawyer saved the money. Now, after exactly the mandamus filed, I'll tell you what happens, folks. So it's generally my practice, Rahul, that before I file a mandamus, I give a 30-day notice to the government. Can you tell me why? To make sure. Yes, can you talk about that why, please?
Yes, there are a few reasons. First, it's important to stay on good terms with the government. You will be, dealing with these same U.S. attorneys in the future. And second,
Send it to USCIS only. That's what I tell people. Don't send it to the AUSA because they will not be very happy about it, because they expect you to actually speak to the government first, the entity, which is the USCIS. And also USCIS has a counsel, if you know that. They have a lawyer. So go and give the copy of the letter to the lawyer that you intend to bring a mandamus. Believe it or not, 90% of the time, the problem may be solved in most of these small states. But if they do not, then file a mandamus. And generally, the biggest thing which I've seen about a mandamus that comes from lawyers and paralegals to me is that, wow, Mr. Gai, I am now going to file my first mandamus action. Be careful. You'll need help. Need help from a senior or from a good lawyer or someone who can help you, because you're dealing with federal court. Before you file it, Rahul would tell everyone to exercise a note of caution. The note of caution here is you should know the judge's rules, you should know the court rules, and you should also be familiar with the magistrate's rules. You should also be familiar with the filing procedures of ECF. Plus, you should know the substantive law. So filing a federal case is not a joke, folks. And judges take it very seriously. Your citations should be perfect. Everything has to be perfect. And now, what most lawyers do, even if they're experienced, and if they want to jump into federal law, they call us at My Legal Software. Or, we work with some of them and we let them know what the procedure is. Even if they make a call, we help them out. Now, what should new lawyers do? They should learn this because it's a very lucrative area of practice. An average federal case can, a mandamus can get to $10,000. That's a lot of money, folks. So if you need to learn how to do these things, we'd be happy to help you from My Legal Software's end. And now, the most important thing is that you got this case, you're worried, what is going to happen next? When you file the mandamus, the government has 60 days to reply. And most lawyers start jumping, wow, I filed my mandamus, everything is going to be good and fantastic and dandy. I'm going to get a positive decision. Never tell that to your client. Under the law, you should know the law very well. The law requires them to give a decision, but it does not compel them to make a favorable decision. Remember that very well, folks. A mandamus is a command issued by the court. And under the command, basically what happens is they are commanding the administrative authority under the Administrative Procedures Act and under the Mandamus Act to make a decision on the application. The decision can be positive or negative. And after you file a mandamus, generally, if you're a new lawyer, you're going to have a Rule 16B conference. Make sure that the service of process is perfect that we had discussed last time. That's why I encourage people to attend all our seminars if they really want to learn. If they're serious about running immigration law, it's very important for them to learn. So now that's why you should review our old lectures too, because we are not going to repeat what we mentioned about process of service. You have to serve basically, the Attorney General, you have to serve DHS over here, plus you have to serve a copy upon the local office, and plus you have to serve the Attorney General and everything and whatnot. So then when the matter gets scheduled, be very nice to the AUSA and Assistant US Attorney. If he's asking you for some extra time, be kind enough to give them 30 to 60 days, because the judge's rules make it clear that you both have to work together to come to an agreement. And after that, what happens, you'll have a Rule 16B conference. At the 16B conference, before that, you have to confer with opposing counsel to see how much time is needed for discovery and everything, commonly referred to as initial disclosures by the court. So what will be disclosed, what will happen? And once you're ready, generally, if you're a new lawyer, try to go before magistrate, and the magistrate will try to bring about a settlement. And if there's a good settlement, you're good to go, and your client will get the decision. And here your client is very happy because you did the mandamus, government gives you the decision, then close the case, you made your $10,000. How easy is it? Rahul, your thoughts?
Yes, I mean, that is the ideal way it could go. Obviously, there are many hurdles along the way as well.
Yes, we'll talk about the hurdles too.
Yes.
So how would you use my legal software with this? What are the features you'd use when you start your Mandamus? I would start with my cases first, start the case. When I start the case, I'll tell you what I would do. When it gets done, you ask them, there's a feature that you ask the client for the money, for basically to print him the receipt, get it done. Then after that, you put the case notes. Then you go to templates. We can give you templates if you want. Take the template, start using that, and finish it up. You're all done with the case. The little bit of help that you need, Rahul can help you out. Rahul is a legal researcher. He's not an attorney. He can help you out with legal research, file your case and make your money. And plus, how did you make money? First thing is you did not pay for the use of my legal software at all. The client paid it for you. Number one. Secondly, you made your money, and for legal research, we'll be happy to help you here. So Rahul, you can just show them of how this entire thing works.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you, there's also another reason why you should see all this. You should see this because this is also going to help you how to preserve the data, how to save the data. Because when you're in federal court tomorrow, if the judge says, hey, log on from your system and check what you did, you can just use my legal software and say, okay, judge, on page 7, I mentioned this paragraph, and you can use WebEx from here, which is used by the courts. Talk to them, and you're all good to go. It's all integrated. A lot of video integrations also included here. If not, you can also create a link for WebEx over here.
Yes, that's available under the resources tab.
In the resources tab, you can use the WebEx link over here.
And we can
add
also,
that over there.
Yes, integrate it.
Here. Look at this. You also have the WebEx link over here. External resources. It's all here within the portal itself. It's down over there. You can show it to them, and you can add that, and you're all good to go. So my cases becomes very important for me, Rahul, here. And you can add as many links as you want over here. See, like LexisNexis is here, Thomson Reuters is here. You can add, you can create your own links from here. And anytime when the judge calls, go here, you're within the portal, you're good to go.
Yes, even though Mandamus and APA suits are often just decided based on record, it's good for you to have your own version of records just to confirm.
You can create your own records. You can add any number of links over you want. Now, also, I like the forms of my legal software for immigration lawyers. Rahul, can you talk about the forms, the custom forms over here?
Yes. So as we said at the start, the hypothetical in this case is an adjustment of status application. One of the benefits of immigration speed is that not only do you have a list of all the actual immigration forms kept up to date as provided by USCIS, but we have automated form filling software that can simplify and eliminate redundant work by automatically inputting, say, the same information throughout the form where it's applicable. If you know that, say, the beneficiary or your applicant has their date of birth, their current address, it will auto-populate wherever those fields require it. In addition, with our custom forms, you can actually group together different kinds of cases that often go together. So for example, when you're submitting the 485, you will often be submitting it alongside, say, a 765 and 864. Maybe it's with a concurrent I-130, and any or required information that would be populated in one will automatically populate in all of those related forms that are you've grouped together.
See, that's another good thing which I like about it is that you don't have to kind of do, you put it once and the data is already there. And this is better than other softwares you might have used. It's very friendly and it's very easy to use and easy to save. And the other thing what I like is that your client cannot print those forms. There's a special feature adopted with that. So there are some clients who try to basically, tell a goodbye to a lawyer after they get all the information. You won't be able to do that with my legal software. So there are ways of, of how the data gets protected out there. And another thing is that it's also your data safety is amazing because we are going to talk next time about the new laws of cyber security. And we'll have some, Rahul and I will be discussing cyber security in the legal profession. And the good news is my legal software that includes immigration speed and GP speed for general practice lawyers is fully ready to assist you with cybersecurity. And I think Priyanjali, she's taking a lot of courses in cybersecurity, and I believe she'll also be one of our speakers, right? She loves cybersecurity, and I know that's why you're smiling. So that's going to be a growing trend, and we all will be discussing cybersecurity.
I would love to talk that because I'm already under the process of learning.
So we all will talk about cybersecurity next time.
Absolutely, and I've started understanding how important it is for the attorneys.
Yeah, so we'll be discussing about what is cybersecurity, and we have some people who are highly kind of knowledgeable about cybersecurity laws internationally. So we'll be talking about cybersecurity from an international perspective and the current laws in New York, which are coming in, that everyone has to take a CLE, but we do not offer CLEs, but it's good for you know about cybersecurity. I think we can leave this, I believe, is everything okay, Rahul? Yeah, good.
Yes, sorry, I think that there was some, I was having some sound issues before, but I believe that we're all able to hear each other clearly now.
Good, everything is good, yeah.
Yes, and we can move on to the next page.
So now, Rahul, what happens now? Your Mandamus is filed and everything. So you have the 16B conference. Now, the government is saying they need 1 more year to adjudicate the application. How would you respond to that? I would tell them straight up that exactly, no, that's too much time. My client has already had so many things. Try to give them 1 month, 2 months. And I generally prefer giving them around 90 days to make sure that the dust is settled and they get a decision. But you cannot give the government endless amount of time, because the whole purpose of a mandamus gets defeated if you keep kind of giving them adjournments and adjournments and adjournments. Now, what does the government do? They may file a motion to dismiss. They may say that the delay is reasonable. And if there are some serious issues that involve the case, then the judge also has the right to give them additional time.
Yes, the primary question, as you correctly said, is whether or not the delay is unreasonable. Very long delays can, in fact, be found to be reasonable if, for example, the underlying investigation is very complex, or if, say, your client, was involved in causing the delay. The Second Circuit.
The case law on that point, Rahul, when exactly what happened, if you know, is that there was a lawyer who had filed asylum applications for a lot of people. And then finally what happened is that he went to another lawyer, and his 485 was pending through an asylum application. And that initial lawyer got disbarred because he had filed a lot of fraudulent applications. So finally, in that case, the federal judge said, here the delay is reasonable because the previous lawyer was disbarred. And over here, most of his applications were found to be fraudulent. So the government has the right to see whether your application was fraudulent. And if your application was fraudulent, welcome to the club. You'll be put in deportation proceedings. So please be very careful. Therefore, investigating the facts in a mandamus action are very important. So therefore, I tell people, when you start a mandamus action, go through all the facts of the case under microscopes, only when you're comfortable. And if a client is not lying to you, then go for a mandamus.
Yes, the Second Circuit in particular, for example, will start every inquiry into unreasonableness with an investigation into the source of the delay. And if that source is your client, that's going to play a significant role in whether they find it to be unreasonable.
And that is very, very important. Rahul, now let's talk a little bit about mandamuses. We spoke about 485s. Now, in connection with somebody's wife is stuck abroad, and the matter of Patel, and generally the government sometimes tries to say that you should not have filed a mandamus, which is incorrect, I believe. So in that case, we can talk about the doctrine of consular non-reviewability. Can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Yes. So the doctrine of consular non-reviewability basically sets up a very broad limit on courts' jurisdiction to review the decisions and actions of consular officers abroad. This dates back to basically the court's.
So Rahul, what I want you to do is talk a little bit. We can open up your notes, talk a little bit about the matter of Patel. Why is the matter of Patel so important in these cases? There are two Patels. The old Patel case is about they have to kind of basically give a decision in those cases. That's the one that I like.
Yes. So
people are getting confused nowadays about a mandamus. That's mandamus is a command to issue a decision, and the second one is exactly filing an action in federal court. Two different things. separate the apples from the oranges and talk to people.
Correct. So while the doctrine of consular non-reviewability has broad applicability to decisions and actions that are taken, that doesn't mean that it's completely unreviewable rather, whether or not the decision is made to begin with. So for example, even if the denial of a visa by a consular officer is unreviewable by courts, the decision or the refusal to make a decision on that denial is something that courts can compel. Beyond that, with the doctrine of consular non-reviewability, there are narrow exceptions that allow review, particularly if there is a constitutional right of a U.S. citizen that is being infringed upon without, due process. Beyond that, however, it's generally wise to limit your mandamus suits to instances where the decision is delayed, not in a case where you think that some application or petition was improperly denied. Because as Mr. Gahey was saying, courts have significantly curtailed their own jurisdiction on those matters. So the primary question then is, again, whether or not the delay was unreasonable. And while most courts will start with an investigation into the source of the delay, they will typically then turn to what are called, the 6 track factors, which are taken from a case in the DC circuit called Telecommunications Research and Action Center versus the FCC. And these give you, 6 kind of broad outlines and factors that help you determine whether or not an action is delayed unreasonably. So for example, they want to know whether or not the timeline that the action is taken is governed by a rule of reason, which in some cases might actually even be laid out by the statute. Often one of the most important factors is whether or not compelling the agency to act will have an effect on some other equal or competing priority. So for example, if all that happens as a result of your mandamus action is that your client is pushed to the head of the line and everybody else is pushed one step back, courts tend to be reluctant to find that delay unreasonable, or to find a mandamus or an APA suit over delays to be the appropriate remedy in that case. So it's important to consider what exactly you're asking for and what the overall picture of the agency's actions will look like as a result of your suit versus the status quo. And another thing that we can discuss is the kinds of actions that can qualify as being unreasonably delayed. Remember, it has to be an action that the governmental agency or officer has a basically ministerial, legally required duty to.
Now, what is ministerial? Can you basically define that? This is where most lawyers get confused. A ministerial is exactly just a duty wherein the case is pending for a long time. That is a ministerial duty.
Yes, it's basically a requirement.
An administrative duty, I would call it.
Yes, it's non-discretionary. You don't have a choice. It's part of your legal requirements on the job in your official capacity.
Now, this is where people get lost. What is discretionary and non-discretionary? Which means a ministerial duty. Means suppose if I'm a security guard in a building, so it is my duty to make sure that the building is secured and the gates are locked. So that is a ministerial duty for me. But is it my duty to look at the entire construction and everything in the building? The answer is no. That's up to my discretion. If I'm exactly, even very good in construction work, that's not my duty. So look at it, that's not a ministerial duty. The ministerial duty here for the security guard is to make sure that the gates are properly locked. So that's the best way to understand it. Here, immigration officers have a duty to make sure that they render a decision, because under the APA, they have accepted a fee. And when there's a fee that has been accepted in these cases, then they have to basically make sure that they comply with the duty under the Administrative Procedures Act. Am I right or wrong, Rahul?
Correct. Basically, it means that the duty has to be so plainly described that there's no doubt about whether or not it exists.
No, there's another thing that not many people know, and they don't even do this, especially in mandamus actions. EAJA fees. So what does EAJ, folks, means? Equal Access to Justice Act. So which means after the case is filed and everything, you can also bring an action against the government to get some monies. But the amount of billing is very reasonable. You cannot charge an arm and a leg. And the fee has to be kind of given to the court. The number of hours have to be approved by the court. And you can also get monies if you win the, like, if basically the thing is that if you win the case. So if the government settles the case, if they give a decision, then generally they'll ask you to waive the fee. But if you go to trial and if you win it, then at that time, the good news is that you can also claim EAJA fees. Rahul, your thoughts on that?
Yes, the fees are set by a schedule and a formula. And again, there are cases where the government might say that you have to demonstrate, that you are the prevailing party, that there was and that, the equitable considerations work in your favor. But the EAJA was basically established to ensure that the costs of litigation could be recovered in cases where the government has committed, a clear failure to or unlawfully withheld an action that they were, that was mandatory.
Right. So a few things, Priyanjali, can you tell me what we are going to also another thing that is very, very important for a lot of lawyers. Next session, we are going to talk about something that's important for general practice lawyers. We are going to talk about legal compliance of your website under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Remember, the next session is meant for general practice lawyers. It's also meant for people who actually have websites. And what happens if a website is non-compliant? Get ready to pay a lot of money in attorney's fees if you are sued. At least I've seen cases settled for 20,000, 15,000, 25,000, 50,000 just because your site was non-compliant. What is the ADA? And we are going to discuss that in detail because my legal software is not only about immigration softwares, it also helps you with maintaining your website, search engine optimizations, ethical compliance, which means I've seen so many people saying that they are the #1 lawyer in the world. Because you are using a company that doesn't know legal ethics, you can lose your license because that may be an ethical violation in your state. #1. You're providing false and misleading communication. You're not in compliance with the FCC. You're not in compliance with state consumer laws. You're also basically, when a visually impaired person is coming on your website, he cannot read it. Welcome. Bottom line is that get ready to pay some massive fines. So don't get carried away by people who say, I can get you on the first page of Google by saying that you are the #1 attorney in the world. I've seen that too. The best attorney in the world. And your answer is that I don't know what is happening at the back. No, as a lawyer, you are responsible for taking care of your site, not this website provider. And I think Rahul will be talking about that. So ethical compliance with websites, as well as ethical SEOs. We'll talk about half the things people are going to get a shock. They won't even know about it. Very important. Make sure that your website is in order. And secondly, half the time, how these SEO companies and these digital marketers, how they basically kind of don't do anything. And they just ask you to pay them money. And why your site is not coming up on the ranking. We'll have a technical expert also coming in and joining us very soon if needed. And other than that, after that, we are also going to talk about one subject which everyone is waiting about, cyber security for general practice lawyers. Why is it so important? Why a lot of software companies, very important, are still not in compliance without letting you know about it. So when you're using a case management software, when you're using your website, when you're dealing with your internal kind of LAN and WAN, most people only know what's LAN and WAN. LAN means local area network. You're looking at wide area network. I'll be talking to you about it. Yes, IT is my specialty. I love IT, so I'll be talking about information technology. Rahul will be talking, and on cyber, we'll have Priyanjali joining us. And plus, we'll have, I'll be doing most of the talking. She'll talk about international cyber laws, not about US. So she'll talk about how cyber laws are working internationally with just a talk. And remember, folks, I'm an attorney. The rest of them are basically kind of, in the legal researchers, and basically that's how we all work. So the talk is general in nature. Does not constitute any attorney advice. I am the attorney here, but still anything that I'm saying is general in nature and does not apply to any facts or circumstances. And I'm speaking in my capacity as the founder only, not as the principal of Gain Associates, which is a different company. Anything said on this platform is restricted to this platform only. And as we make it clear, Rahul is not an attorney, he's a legal researcher. Priyanjali is a legal researcher too. And we make sure that we try our best to educate you, keep you updated. And remember, folks, it's so simple. If you are a lawyer, why are you spending money behind a legal software? Think about that, because our billing goes to your client. Save your money, stop paying these $2,000 or $3,000 a year. Even if you're spending $50, why spend it when you get everything free? And the only time you pay is basically when you have a client and the client pays a fee. That system is in place currently. And if you want to know more, you can talk to us about it and we can discuss further. Terms and conditions are subject to change. But at the end of the day, if you call today or in the next couple of days, as I said, terms and conditions are subject to change. You can speak to Priyanjali and she'll be happy to kind of guide you through. Priyanjali, hope you're monitoring all the calls that are coming. They ring to you, they come on your desk. Ravi and Sushant, make sure they check the calls. And another way to do it is just you go to mylegalsoftware.com, sign up on Calendly, and you should be good to go. So just make sure that you all are there. So the time is 3:43 and we'll be leaving a little early today. The reason is because New Year is approaching and we all need to kind of basically make sure that we enjoy a new year. But before that, Priyanjali has a few words to say. If you're looking at developing a website that is legally compliant and you don't want to, and you face the possibility of a fine in future, you want to make sure that you're ethically compliant, and above all, you want to make sure that you rank pretty well on the search engines, get clients. My Legal Software is the way to go. They manage your website, they give you case management, and they help you with many other things. And the best thing to do is to call them at 212-390-9493. And the website is mylegalsoftware.com. Priyanjali, your remarks.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for all your knowledge that you have shared through this platform. So first of all, I would like to mention to everyone that this initiative taken by My Legal Software is only to provide mentorship to all the seasoned attorneys as well as new attorneys through our weekly webinars. So anything told, shared here does not amount to attorney advice. So please make sure that you understand that. And also, as Mr. Gehi already mentioned, we have already we came up with a new system of developing websites, ADA compliant websites, because we have seen that most of the attorney websites are not ADA compliant right now. So that is the reason we have taken.
I must tell you that even your web providers may not be knowing about it. Because, by the way, another thing for people to know, I have filed lawsuits as a federal lawyer against companies that have non-compliant websites, and I cannot discuss the settlements, but they were, they had to spend a sumptuous amount in attorney's fees, and the attorney's fees were collected by us. So remember, your website is at risk if you're not in compliance with the ADA. And what it takes is so simple: a visually impaired person going on your site, asking for your service, and if you're not in compliance, he hires a lawyer, and the lawyer is going to take up that case on a contingency. He's going to go after you. And then if you're going to tell him, wait a minute, I'm going to do it now, not acceptable. Pay the money, then that's unfortunately the law. There are very minor exceptions, but a lot of people, even Rahul, there's a Supreme Court case on that we'll discuss. So next one is going to be on web compliance. And the next one we're going to have is after 2 weeks now. So our next session is going to be, Priyanjali, when?
I will give you the date.
So our next session is going to be web compliance under the ADA and how to generate business by having a very good site, by having a very good SEO, and this a digital management marketing plan sponsored by My Legal Software.
Yes. So our next webinar will be held on the 20th of January, and we will talk about ADA
compliance. On the 12th or the 13th, I believe we need to have that. 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. So the first week is 6th and 13th.
So someone the 13 will be having about this because 13
We will
like
disclose that. We will disclose that very soon
definitely.
through our. Just keep a watch on our social media platforms, and you will get to know when we are coming up with the next webinar. And this is for all our viewers. And also, I would like to mention that we have seen excellent records coming and responses coming from all our new signees, and
And
mainly
what
they
I like
are.
is Priyanjali, a lot of people are taking demos. A
Yes,
lot of
sir.
people have been taking our demos endlessly because
Exactly.
remember, there is a big difference in our team. We have legal professionals here. They may
Yes.
not be attorneys, but they are legal professionals. They know like how to help you. They know how to navigate. That's the difference in this team. And in my case, of
Yes.
course, I'm an attorney. But as I said, over here, you have that extra bandwidth over here that is very much needed. So thank you, folks, and wish you all a happy new year. And if you like this program, if you learned about Mandamus, if you want to learn more, you want to become a federal lawyer, get in touch, go to My Legal Software, schedule a calendar link. We'll make sure that we get you up and rocking. And remember, take advantage. MYLS can be freely installed right now. You pay per client, which means your client pays the bill, have it free. Cannot get better than that. And remember, if your website is not compliant, we can do a free compliance for you to see whether your site is in compliance or no. And if it's not, get it done. Make sure that good professionals look at it. You'll find a dime a dozen people, but they may not know anything about the law entails. So we'll meet again. Thank you. If you like this video, share it, like it, and we'll see you again. I hope you learned a lot about Mandamus. Next time, we're going to talk about website compliance under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Thank you, folks. And it's good for general practice lawyers. We'll meet again. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.